readers. Today we're going to talk about characters and really dive deep into characters' actions, their feelings, their thoughts, and really take a look at what type of people they are. So yesterday we talked about characters. We talked about the difference between the outside, which is the physical appearance. I have brown hair, I have freckles, I have brown eyes. And then we talked about the inside, really their personality traits, characteristics that we can describe based off what they do, what they say, what they feel, what they think. So today we're going to read our mentor text that we read yesterday. So we read the entire thing yesterday. We really talked about the main character, Michael, and we talked about his characteristics, his personality traits based off the words that he was saying. Now today we're going to talk about the actions that he has in the story and give this character a character trait based off of his actions, okay? So before we start, this morning we talked in morning meeting about a personality trait that we could give ourselves, and you did an amazing job thinking of your own character traits to describe yourself. Right now I want you to turn and talk to your partner, and I want you to talk about what you remember from yesterday, what character traits we gave the main character, Michael, based off of the words he said in the text. Wow, readers, I am so proud of you for remembering what we did yesterday. You are totally right. Michael was a hardworking character. He was a little bit discouraged in the beginning. He was determined. He was hopeful. He was patient. And he really, really showed us what kind of character he was based off of what he said in the text yesterday. So today we're going to talk about what kind of character he is based off of his actions. And remember, we came up with a whole list yesterday. Remember that you have this organizer to help you with a whole bunch of different character traits. We really want to use this for our assignment today. It's going to help you out to think of different traits to assign your specific character. So while I am reading, I'm not going to read every single page today. I'm going to pick out certain parts as a reader. So remember, as a reader, we want to stop and we want to jot. So today is graphic organizer. You're going to have your character, you're going to have your evidence and page number, because remember, as readers, we always have to find evidence to prove our thinking, and then you're going to give your character a trait. So I'm going to show you with 3 pieces of evidence today, and remember, when you do your Reese's response, you only have to choose 2. So the more pieces of evidence you have, the better you have at explaining your thinking. Okay, so let's get started. So the first piece of evidence that I came to as a reader was on page 1. Every Saturday, he followed his older brothers, Larry and Ronnie, to the park, hoping that they would let him play. And if one of the guys who usually played with them didn't show, they always did. Wow. This really shows Michael's actions, what he's doing to show what kind of character he is. So I'm going to go to my graphic organizer. My character is Michael. The evidence that we just read aloud together, and the trait that I believe he is determined. He showed us that no matter what is going on in the world, he doesn't want to play with his friends. He doesn't want to go to the movies. He wants to go to the basketball court and be hopeful that he can play in a game. He goes there every single Saturday, no matter what. That is being a determined person, definitely based off his actions. Okay? So the next piece of evidence is on page 16. After that night, Michael wore his favorite game shoes everywhere he went, even to church, and he stopped going to the park with his brothers on Saturdays. Instead, he stayed home and practiced. Wow. Staying home all the time, practicing no matter what, practicing dribbling, practicing shooting, getting better, being determined to get better no matter what. Really important as a character. So we want to show the character, the evidence that we found, and the trait is still determined. Michael is a determined character. His actions show us that he is determined to become the best basketball player he can. Okay? So making sure that we find that page, making sure that we put the page number down is really important so that it's easier to find later on. Remember, when we do our Reese's response, we're going to have to elaborate. So while you're writing your evidence down, really think about, what does this make me think? What does this prove to me as a reader? Okay? Who wants to guess what the last piece of evidence was that I found? Wow, excellent job. So, here we go. This one has a two-parter, and I'm going to see if you can notice why it's a two-parter. Being taller may help you play a little better, but not as much as practice, determination, and giving your best will. Those are the things that make you a real winner. Michael thought about what Daddy had said for a minute. Then suddenly, he jumped up and took off. Yeah, definitely shows that he's determined. So even though some of that evidence is what his father said, I'm going to write down both of those pieces and really talk about what kind of character Michael is. So his actions are what we want to focus on today. So I wrote Michael obviously is the character. I wrote what his father said on top and what Michael's actions were on the bottom. So we want to make sure that we are describing and elaborating. We can use what his father said instead of that for the piece of evidence. So the piece of evidence is going to be Michael's actions, that he jumped up, he got all excited because his father's words really, really made him realize how important it is to give your best, give your all, be determined, and get out there and show people that you're the best basketball player. Okay? So remember, when you are doing your race and scissors response, you have these organizers, depending on which one you're doing. You need to restate, answer, cite evidence, elaborate that evidence, cite another piece of evidence, elaborate that evidence, and then sum it up, okay? Today you're going to go back into your reading, you're going to find your character that you're focusing on, and you're going to give that character a trait. I would love for you to focus on the actions of that character, but if you need to focus on the words, you can focus on the thoughts, the feelings, but definitely try to focus on the actions today if your character has important actions in this story. Okay, before we end, I'm going to share with you my example. This will be on the smart board in case you need help. Okay. Remember, in the red is the sentence starters to help you. Okay? After reading the story Salt in His Shoes by Dolores Jordan, I know the main character, Michael, is a determined character based off his actions. I know this because in the text on page 16, it says, after that night, Michael wore his favorite game shoes everywhere he went, even to church. And he stopped going to the park with his brothers on Saturdays. Instead, he stayed home and practiced. This proves that Michael is a determined character because he knows that even though he wants to play basketball with the older kids, he usually does not get a chance to play, so practicing at home by himself will make him a better basketball player. There's my first piece of evidence. The text also says, here we go for my second, on page 20, Michael thought about what Daddy had said for a minute. Then suddenly he jumped up and took off. Here's my elaboration. This proves that Michael is a determined character because after his dad explained how practicing and giving his best effort will make him the best basketball player, he realized that even though he wasn't as tall as the other kids, he would not give up on living his dream of becoming the best basketball player. He knew that if he continued to practice, he would get better each time, and he was ready to show the other boys how his determination really made him a stronger player. Now I'm summing up my answer. As you can see, the main character, Michael, is a determined character based off of his actions. Throughout the text, he does not give up and really shows what hard work entails to become one of the best basketball players. Okay, boys and girls, so now you're going to dive into your independent reading text. You're going to find and use your organizer for characters, evidence, page number, and the trait that you're giving your character. You need to find at least 2 pieces of evidence, and then you are going to write your race's response. I cannot wait to see what you come up with today. Nice job, readers.